That was The Coral we played just before that.
Yeah, new single.
What a great single. They're only about 12 or something, that band.
Very young band.
They've got a collective age of 4 of them. The collective age is 50. We have Mr. Joey Springer with us. We couldn't be happier. Joey, of course, was a native of this part. He was born in North London, I believe. Joey, is that correct?
Yeah, I was born in Hampstead.
Family moved over, went via Ellis Island.
Yeah, came over on the Queen Mary.
Wow. And then
1949.
Grew up in New York, New Jersey, somewhere like that?
New York. Grew up in New York and lived in Cincinnati as an adult, and that's where I was the mayor, and then now do the show in Chicago.
How great to have been a mayor.
It's great. You get up in the morning and say, okay, no talking. It's like you're in charge.
Well, of course. And did you get to give the key of the city to many people?
Oh, yeah. Actually, this is true. Because I was a very young mayor, and I always wanted to meet the rock stars that were coming to town. So it's true. I gave every one of them a key to the city. So I got to meet, Bob Dylan and then just, and the Eagles and all of them.
What does the key to the city actually mean? What can you do with that key?
Nothing. I ran out of keys, so now I just give the combination, 25 to the right, 14 to the left, 26 to the
Cincinnati is a city I've never been to. Yeah. It sounds like an exciting city. It sounds very
It's kind of
American.
neat. Yeah, it's on the river. It's on the Ohio River. And on hills. It's very scenic. Yeah, it's a cool city.
And how long were you mayor for?
2 terms.
2 terms, that's what, 8 years, I guess, is it?
4.
4 years, so it's a 2-term year.
Right.
And you get elected as the mayor, of course.
Yes.
And they call it the gubernatorial elections, I believe, is that?
No, that's when you run for governor.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, in '82 I ran for governor, and it was a close election, but I lost, and that's when I was hired by NBC to do the news, so I anchored the news for 10 years.
That's such a weird, that seems to us like a strange career swerve.
It was, but they figured since I had been the mayor of Cincinnati and was reasonably popular there, that I would know the city, and therefore I could really do the news of the community.
Yeah,
it
does make sense. But it seems like a strange career leap for you to make.
Yeah, they just offered me the job. I never even thought about it, frankly, and I grew into it, and it was successful, and that's how I got the crazy talk.
I imagine, I suppose, if you're doing, politics as a career, and if you're in that kind of position, and then you don't get elected, that's kind of it. You don't have a job.
Well, I never wanted politics to be my career. I mean, I've stayed active in it, but politics is like a religion. It's something I'm passionate about, but it's not the way I make my living. And I think once you make your living in politics, you become intellectually dishonest. I mean, if getting elected is the way you put food on your table, then you will start to do anything to get elected because you have to feed your family. So the best way to do it is to make your living doing something else and have politics be something you believe in and run on causes and stuff like that.
Rather neatly, you got to the root of the problem in any mass democratic organisation. As soon as it becomes a kind of vote-getting body which exists only for its own need to get itself re-elected, of course, then the actual reason for its existence in the first place, it's a terrible thing. What can we do about that?
Yeah. Well, what was it Churchill that said, democracy is the worst form of government except for every other, except for all the others. I think what he actually said was, democracy,
He had a great way of
he did. God bless him.
And were you not recently going to re-stand as governor? You were...
for United States Senate. I was thinking of running in 2004 next year, but the show would... still be running until 2 months prior to the election,
and
that made it
work.
Well, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And there'd only be a 2-month period between the end of the show and when I would and the election. And so I figured out if I'm going to do this, like I may run in 2006, I would stop the show a year beforehand, so I would have a year without having the show on the air.
Hoping people might forget about it.
Well, they'll never forget about it, but I can't. It's emblazoned on my forehead.
Course.
But at least if I'm not doing it anymore, then I'm devoting full time and attention to the issues of the day. Yeah. No one's going to take me seriously if I'm, talking about Iraq during the day and then dancing with transvestites at night.
Although presumably that's what a lot of politicians do, is it not?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, they've got to let off a little bit of steam.
Yeah.
This is quite a remarkable success story, your show. I mean, the Jerry Springer Show itself has run for how many years now?
13, yeah.
13 years. And it's been at the top for pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, it's stupid. But, people like it, and it's mindless to do. It doesn't take a lot of effort.
Well, I kind of, when I watch it, I almost always found myself drawn in and watching it and amazed. And at the same time, I sometimes feel a little... unhappy with myself for watching it, because it is sometimes you feel like you're wallowing in other people's misery, and they seem not smart enough to realise that they're being exploited to an extent. And that I'm sure this has come up before.
Sure, yeah. I really don't view it as exploitation because it's totally voluntary. I mean, when I was doing the news, that's exploitation, because the news reports on people against their wishes. And it hurts people, hurts their families, hurts their reputations. It does it every day, and never once does the news ever say, you know what? if this story puts you in a bad light or will hurt your career or hurt your marriage, we won't run it. And he says, what the hell? This is great. This will help our ratings. This will sell papers. We'll do it. On our show, no one gets on the show unless they desperately want to be on. They get to choose what to talk about. They can wear a disguise. They can change their name.
But, you know, we are dealing with people who aren't especially, shall we say, bright.
Yeah, but that's a subjective... In other words, we can't say... When Princess Di was on international television 8 years ago or so, talking about how, there had been cheating in the marriage and how she had suffered from bulimia and even at moments contemplated suicide. No one in the world said, how dare she be on talking about this stuff?
No, I'm not saying how dare they. But at the same time, the producer of that show didn't ask her to sumo wrestle with another overweight woman after the show title.
Yeah, but what she was
wearing
talking...
a wedding veil, which was one of the high points of your
that was the best show we ever had. But the subject she was talking about are exactly the subjects that talked about on our show.
Have a point.
It's just that the guests on our show aren't wealthy.
Yeah, who are we to say that these people should not be allowed to go on television and talk about it if they so wish, yeah. Although sometimes, do you not feel you could save them from themselves? There is that kind of feeling.
Well, first of all, when they come on the show, they're not talking about anything that's life-changing. They're talking about dating. They're talking about a relation. They're angry, and tomorrow they're dating someone else. We're not talking about life-and-death situations.
Have you ever got hit by them? Not intentionally, but sometimes they're swinging at each other, these fellas.
No, I'm pretty much of a wimp. When it looks like there's trouble, I get back in the audience.
You have that big bald guy who comes out. And
Steve, yeah.
Okay. He's become quite a celebrity in his own way.
But actually, he feels bad about being bald, so he's letting his eyebrows grow long. He's going to comb straight back.
That's a good look.
That's what I'm thinking.
Let's talk about your film, because, Jerry, this is not the first film you've been in, though. I know you're in a film.
No, I've been in other movies, but I always play myself. This is the one time I'm playing someone who's not me.
So you're acting?
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay.
It comes out September 12th, by the way. I know you were going to ask me that.
I was going to ask you that, and I know it's called... No, I'm very happy to talk about it. Don't worry, you don't have to...
Citizen Verdict.
It's called Citizen Verdict, okay. And what's surprising, and don't take this the wrong way, but what's surprising is, the strength of the cast in the film with you, because you have Armand Assante, who's a very good actor, and Roy Scheider, who's one of, the best
it's a big movie.
Actors.
It's a good movie. It was excellent. Yeah.
Who directed it?
Philippe Martinez.
Okay, never heard of him, but I'm sure he's
very good.
And what's the story? It's kind of not about your show as such, is it?
No, it's not about any kind of a talk show. It takes reality television and moves it one more step. You see, in America, we televise trials. And here in England, for example, and in America, but more so in England, reality television you guys are obsessed with it, whether it's Big Brother or the one where
it's big news over here still.
Yes. So the thought is, what if we had reality television covering trials? And so what we have is, in this movie, we televise criminal trials, and the viewers at home get to vote guilt or innocence. They become the jury.
I'll be honest with you, I think that's the way forward.
Well,
no, seriously.
It's kind of scary, because obviously there's no control over evidence. There's no control over, people making any kind, they're in a bar drinking, they call up and say, hey, hang the guy.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, well, that's...
I tell you why it's a good idea as well, is because people like you and I, we know how to work the camera, we'd always get off.
Yeah.
Look at it from our point of view.
Well, I hadn't thought of that.
That's a good deal, isn't it?
Do people realize that you dress up for this show?
And now you see, you're smart casual.
Well, no, but you're wearing a tie. I'm impressed. You just wearing a tie because you knew I was coming in, or was this... No, you just wear it every day.
I liked it. It's nice.
It's very nice. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I like to make the effort.
But yeah, so the movie takes reality. What makes the movie scary is that it's not unbelievable.
Right.
In other words, it could really come to the day where we start letting viewers at home vote guilt or innocence.
Although, of course, in this country, we're far too civilized to have capital punishment anymore. So, it's not...
Yeah, that's true. You're ahead of us on that.
Way ahead.
Yeah.
In so many other ways. Do you feel spiritually...
Can you name one?
Can I name any that you're not? Yeah. Do you feel more British though, because you were born over here? I know you were raised in the States.
I was born here, but I'm an American. I mean, I came over when I was 5. I left England when I found out I couldn't be king. And so I grew up in America. And I'm an American. Do
you still think secretly that you could be president? I mean, you can't, because you weren't born here, can you?
I was born in England.
But when they're going to try and change that so you could have Schwarzenegger as president?
Yeah, I know. Someone had mentioned that.
Can you imagine that? Well, I have been looking at the documents.
Yeah.
We are going to invade England.
Yeah.
Again.
That scare me, yeah.
He's a scary character.
Yeah, well, I'm one of the few that thinks he might not win.
Yeah. No, I think isn't that the way kind of conventional wisdom has swung in that direction now? People think he's not going to get in after.
Well, I don't know. I guess every day it changes, but, at least... earlier in the week, everyone said he was going to win. I don't think he will, but who knows? We'll see.
And you've given up politics for now, though?
No, I realize I've never dropped out. I just am not running for office. But if I decide to run in 2006, I'll stop the show a year beforehand so that, it doesn't get mixed in.
Let's play some music and we'll chat to Jerry some more after this. I want to talk a bit more about the show as well as
Sure.
the film. What do we have lined up, Andy?
I thought this is in honour of Jerry's show. It's by Jonathan Richman. I think there probably would be a title of Jerry's show. I was dancing in a lesbian bar. So probably.
God bless him.
Yeah. That's the one and the only Mr. Jonathan Richman. What a great song.
Yeah.
There's the new David Bowie's album is out quite soon, I'm delighted to say. He's on my talk show this coming Friday night, and he covers a Jonathan Richman song in his album, Pablo Picasso, from the first Modern Lovers album.
All right.
That's a good version. Are you a fan of either Jonathan Richman or Pablo Picasso or David Bowie?
Well, Bowie and Picasso, I guess.
Well, Jonathan Richman, we'll give you an album takeaway.
I'd
Get back
like
to us
that,
next
yes.
time.
Yeah.
Jerry Springer can be seen on... What station has your show over here? I've forgotten which one it's on.
Well, ITV2.
ITV2, late at night, yeah.
Yeah.
Can be seen on ITV2 on the Jerry Springer Show. He's also got a movie out called Citizen Verdict, which opens here in the UK on the 12th of September. I'm going to see it next week. I'm looking forward to it because it's not just you in it. It's got, as I said, Roy Scheider, who is a tremendous...
Yeah, he's
tremendous.
wonderful.
Did you have any scenes with Roy?
Yes. Armand Assante has he's the good guy lead. I'm the villain lead.
Right.
And Roy Scheider, he's wonderful. Anytime he's on the screen,
He just has the most incredible face as well. It's a kind of craggy is the word, I guess.
Yes,
It's filled with character.
He's in great shape.
Yeah, well, he was always a fit guy. He played. Do you remember in All That Jazz where he plays Bob Fosse?
Yes.
What a film that is. That's a great film.
Yeah.
Do you remember Marathon Man where he plays the assassin guy?
No.
Yeah, he's great in that. What about Jaws? You seen Jaws?
Yes.
He's in that as well. Have you seen?
You ought to write articles about movies.
Have you ever seen William Friedkin's remake of the Henri Clouzot classic La Salle de Peur, Sorcerer, with the Tangerine Dream soundtrack?
Thursday.
It's a fantastic film. I'll lend you it.
Would you?
Come round, we'll have
Do
a
you
boys'
think I
movie
would
night
give it
in.
back if you-
I'll bring the movie and the popcorn, you bring a couple of hookers.
Got a deal. You got to tell me what you like.
It's got to be a great night out with Jerry Springer, hasn't it?
Can you imagine?
I can imagine. I spend a lot of time imagining. That's the problem. It's all imagine.
God, I would love to be me.
Oh, Jerry Springer. This show now you've been doing for years.
Yes.
Does it ever surprise you anymore, the TV show? Are there ever kind of times when human nature itself, the kind of complicated situations in which people find themselves or create for themselves?
No, the honest answer is no. But the honest answer is I don't think you can be a grown-up in today's world and honestly be surprised about any kind of a relationship. I mean, just read your papers.
Yeah.
We all know these things happen. Do they happen in most people's lives? Of course not. I mean, our show is about outrageous people or people involved in outrageous situations. So obviously it's going to be out of the ordinary. But I can't tell you that I'm shocked that that kind of stuff happens. I know it happens.
Are you delighted? Are you amused by it ever?
Yeah, mostly I'm amused. I mean, it's a stupid show. I've always said that.
I know you have, and hats off to you for saying that.
Yeah, because it is. But, people like it.
It's enjoyable. There's a vicarious story to be had. You just wouldn't want to live next door to those folks.
Although most of us do.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, not me. Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I know where you live. No, they don't live next door.
I don't
to
like
you.
the way you said that. It sounded like a threat.
Yeah.
I'm going to check my parcels very carefully over the
What
next
do you
few
think
days.
the people living next to you say?
Yeah, actually, they say, what a lovely model neighbour. If only he'd cut those Leylandia firs down.
Yeah.
Jerry is in the UK just for a short trip, I guess. When you're over here, do you have family? Do you have relatives
Here?
from
No.
when your folks were here? No.
No. I mean, that was 50-something years ago. 54 years ago.
So what do you do with yourself when you're in town? Obviously you're promoting something, but what do you do for fun? What does Jerry Springer do to unwind?
I go to the library.
Uh-huh. What do you read?
Books with no pictures.
I so don't believe that.
Yeah. Well, good.
I know you can read, clearly. Clearly you're
Well,
well
as long as the words aren't too big.
No, yeah. And are you feeling the effects of the ageing process yet? Are you feeling that loss of powers that comes with your declining years?
Well, I'm certainly declining. I'm going to be 60, so it's time to call it.
But well, you know what? In a good light, there's a little bit of Robert Redford about you, Joey.
Oh, is that? Well,
I'm sure
that's a compliment.
Whip off your
I mean,
glasses.
he must
Take your
he must
glasses
be
off for a second,
outraged.
would you mind? Okay. Now I want you to squint slightly and look off into... No, not at me, not like that. And look off into the middle. Look at that, Robert Redford. Not in his best years, but he's not bad. It's really, seriously.
Usually I get Woody Allen.
Well, there's a bit. It's like you're like the illegitimate
Except
offspring
not
of
as
Woody
good
Allen,
looking.
and if their sperm had got mixed up at the bank
Yes.
when a young lady came in, you'd be the offshoot.
That's what so many people tell me that. I'd be an offshoot of.
It's such a cliched observation.
Yeah.
Jerry, it's always nice to spend some time with your company. I
thanks a
enjoy
lot.
seeing
Good
you.
guy. I appreciate
I would
it.
like to take you for dinner sometime.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be very nice.
Yeah,
I eat a lot.
I'd like us to split the bill. I don't know how much.
Oh, I see.
I don't know how much I'm keen to
gives
treat you.
and
but
takes,
I'd like
Jerry.
to spend some time.
Yeah.
I bet you have some great stories to tell that you couldn't tell on the radio. That's what I'm thinking.
Unbelievable.
Me as well. Let's make it a date.
Okay.
And maybe as a competition, we'll invite one listener along as well. Jerry Springer's film, Citizen Verdict, opens here in the UK on the 12th of September. Make sure you catch that. And if you're looking for Vicarious Pleasure, catch his show on ITV2. It's on most evenings, I think.
Yes.
It seems to be whenever I tune in. Jerry, lovely to see you again.
Hey, thanks.
Have a
Thanks
great
for having
stay. Safe journey back to Cincinnati.
Good.
Or Chicago, rather.
There you go. Thank you.
Nice to see you again.